Manchester United, through all the game highlight circumstances, I think it's safe to say that we are looking extremely dominant, and the word that describes Manchester United right now is dangerous. Manchester United look dangerous every single play, every single chance they get, they can score. It's a very threatening team, and honestly, the momentum keeps on going. What's up, everybody? It's Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Manchester United versus Brighton match reaction review. We go through all the players, give them ratings, we go through the goals, we go through everything, and we give our opinions on what we think of the game. So before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, share the video, share the playlist, and let me know what you guys think of the match, and let me know what your guys' score prediction was coming into the game. And obviously the score was 3-0, so let me know what you think of the actual score of the game and the goals that have happened. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the way that Manchester United played. We were dominant today in every single facet. We were fantastic counter-attacking, as seen in the third goal. We were brilliant in possession football. We were magnificent in all aspects today. And for many people, man of the match is going to be very difficult to decipher, because there are a lot of players that probably have their name staked into that man of the match, probably well deserved. But I'm going to give mine, and it might be surprising. I feel like it's not that surprising, to be honest, but we're going to see what happens, man. It's going to be very exciting stuff. So let's go into the first goal. So the first goal was a fantastic finish by Mason Greenwood. First of all, it goes into the obviously the right wing type of area. I think it was a pass by Wan Bissaka. Greenwood had the player behind him, so he was able to get the ball and run. He was in a one-on-one situation. He goes near post, he gets it on target. Matt Ryan, the Australian goalkeeper, very much support everything he's done for the Australia at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, he couldn't save it. Manchester United go up 1-0. A fantastic run, a fantastic finish, and obviously a fantastic player Mason Greenwood is. The second goal, a goal that was definitely a little bit more controversial. So it started off with basically a clearance from Brighton. Mason Greenwood shielded the ball from going out. It looked very much out, and it was out, but VAR did not check it, unfortunately, for Brighton. Mason Greenwood gets the ball, goes to 10 players, ends up going to Marcus Rashford, plays it into Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw crosses. Unfortunately, no one gets on the end of that cross. It was a beautiful cross from Luke Shaw. Again, something we're going to get into. Ends up going to Paul Pogba. Pogba plays it to Bruno. Bruno hits it first time. Deflection, goal. Fantastic from Bruno Fernandes. You got to earn your keep here at Manchester United. And sometimes shots, even if they're not the greatest, even if they're deflected, they go in. And it's the only way that they're going to go in is if you try them. And I think that was a well-inclined shot from Bruno Fernandes, and it was definitely a well-deserved goal. And the third goal, and my favourite goal. So Harry Maguire heads it from the centre-half position, from the centre-back position, to Nemanja Matic. Nemanja Matic played an absolute stunning ball all the way across field to Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood running off the left. Beautiful cross to Bruno. Bruno hits it first time into the corner. Amazing, stunning goal. There were so many opportunities besides those opportunities that Manchester United had. Matt Ryan made a few good saves. A few of them were off target or deflected corners, stuff like that. But obviously Manchester United were absolutely dominant. And this was by far probably much better for me than the Sheffield United performance, because this team, we expected a little bit of difficulties. I expected a 2-0 win, but I also expected Brighton to be very tight at the back, very impactful. But we broke through them very early, and I think that's what got Manchester United the confidence to keep going and attacking. And we looked stunning today. Now, Brighton did come back in the second half. They played free, they played with nothing to lose, and they looked dangerous. And I think if they did that from the start, maybe it would have been a little bit more problems. Maybe we would have conceded a goal. But unfortunately for Brighton, I think they gave us way too much respect. And it's a two-way sword. You give us too much respect, we're going to break you down. But if you give us not enough respect, we can counter-attack you. So it's Manchester United are slowly becoming the team that we all want in terms of the way that we want to play. We need more than just counter-attacking to our style of football. And I think slowly but surely, and it's definitely looking positive. We're getting there. We're not becoming just a counter-attacking team. We're just becoming a great attacking team. And it's good to see, man. Obviously, there's work to do, players to sign, people to see, people to develop, improvements all around. And, of course, that needs to be the first thing that Manchester United need to look at, is to find other ways to improve. And as to the point where it becomes extremely hard to find something to improve, that's when you know you've got a good team on your hands. Nevertheless, man, I've explained the goals. I've explained the way that we played. We were fantastic tonight. Let's go into the player ratings. Now, this is one of those games when probably no one deserves a 6, but I'm gonna stay true to my ratings. I did my ratings well before the game ended, pretty much. I think they've well and truly stayed the same. So David De Gea for me gets a 7. He was originally going to get a 6 because he legit did, at least last game, he made 1 save. All I was looking for David De Gea was 1 save to give him a 7. And by God, he made a save. He made 2 fantastic saves when Brighton had nothing to lose and when all guns blazing. He made 2 brilliant saves and he kept Brighton at bay with 0 goals to their name. Unfortunately for Brighton, as much as they tried, David De Gea was the man in goals today, and acrobatic saves, near post saves. I think he did it all. So 7 is fair. Obviously, he didn't have too much to do, so I can't give him over a 7. But great stuff, man. And again, a lot of criticism David De Gea gets, but I think tonight shows even when he doesn't have much to do, he can still make an impact for Manchester United. He's a fantastic goalkeeper still in my eyes. I feel like he deserves a little bit more respect than he gets. But either way, we're not going to get into David De Gea too much, really. People have their opinions on him. And to be honest, I can't say those opinions are wrong or right. I have my own opinions about him. And maybe one day I'll share my opinions with you. Maybe at the end of the season, I'll make a video, player review season, and I'll give my opinions. Next up, we've got Aidan Wan Bissaka, and Aidan Wan Bissaka for me gets an 8. I thought Aidan Wan Bissaka was fantastic today. Gave an attacking threat despite not putting a cross into the box, which is a big negative. Probably why I didn't get a 9, to be honest. But defensively, flawless. Maybe a bit out of position a few times, but again, I thought he was amazing today, and I feel like he definitely gets he's seen as under the radar type of player sometimes. You don't really notice him, but that's because he's so good at what he does that you don't expect anybody to attack his side. And as soon as someone does try to attack his side, they either have to pass it because they know Wan Bissaka is going to get to them, or he makes the tackle. Brilliant one-on-one player. Coming into this game, he was leading the league in tackles. And I still think he is leading the league in tackles, of course, or he increased his tackle margin, so of course he would be. So fantastic stuff, man. That's great to see for Aidan Wan Bissaka. Next up, Victor Lindelof. I'm going to give Victor Lindelof a 7. Again, I would have given him an 8, but we didn't have that much to do, and I thought he was actually superb. His positioning today was sensational, Victor Lindelof. Again, one of those players that go under the radar a little bit. The partnership with Harry Maguire is often talked about, but I feel like no one can complain about the result today, especially with the partnership. I thought both centre-backs were sensational, but Victor Lindelof is the one that we're talking about right now. I thought he was sensational, man. I thought he was great. I thought positionally he was great. Passing the ball out from the back, everybody did a splendid job. We played as a team in the defence today. Big up, because even when we were under pressure, even when we were stressed, they were having shots on goal. We played as a team and we kept them at bay, and I think Victor Lindelof is a big part of this team, so he has to get his credit. Also with Harry Maguire, I feel Harry Maguire was obviously the better of the 2 centre-backs. I don't know, maybe for me, he just stands out a little bit more than Victor Lindelof. Maybe because he often has more of the ball at the back, or maybe it's because he's just a gigantic presence. He wins headers and stuff. Maybe that's why. I'm not really sure what it is about Harry Maguire that makes him stand out more than Victor Lindelof. But I'm still going to give Harry Maguire a 7. Probably a higher 7 I would give Victor Lindelof. But again, nothing much to do, and I don't think he deserves an 8 because he didn't exactly make any blocks. He didn't make many tackles. He did win a few headers, and that's great. We always love to see that from Harry Maguire. But yeah, attacking wise, he won 1 header in the box, but I don't think he deserves anything higher than a 7, to be honest. Maybe people can give him an 8. I'm not going to complain if people give him an 8, but it's fantastic to see that our defense are playing like a team, and we've kept another clean sheet, so everybody should have a big pat on the back and should be very proud. Luke Shaw for me gets an 8. people say he can't cross. He proved them wrong within 1 minute of the game, within 2 minutes of the game. And he was doing it all night. About 3 or 4 times, he made fantastic crosses into the box that no one got on the end to. And that's something that we could talk about later on with Anthony Martial and our attackers. But at the moment, Luke Shaw is the person we're talking about. Fantastic performance here. He gets an 8 from me. Defensively sound. Didn't really put a foot wrong anywhere on the pitch today. I'd like him to be a little bit more involved. But when he was involved, he made impacts, man. He ran to the byline. He got those crosses, the low crosses, the high crosses. He did everything today, and I feel like he was the better of the Wan Bissaka Luke Shaw duo today, if that's what you want to call it. But again, man, that left side, it's becoming more and more respectable by the game, and people are slowly changing their mind about Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw. People say that we need a left back, but I feel like every single day they're getting proved wrong, day by day. And it makes me happy to see, man, because when you see potential in some players and other people don't see it, it is a bit frustrating. I can't lie to you. It's very frustrating sometimes. So it's not up to me to prove them wrong. It's up to the player, and hopefully the player is doing that. And if they can do that, then that makes every Manchester United fan happy at the end of the day, and that's what we aim for. Happy fans, good wins, competition, competing at the highest level. And I'm looking forward to next season after seeing the way that this team is playing at the moment. Let's aim for top 4, but next season let's aim even higher than top 4. Next up, going into, I guess you could call them the CDMs. We'll get into the first CDM. The other one, he wasn't really playing CDM at all. Nemanja Matic. Sensational. Nemanja Matic, again, was sensational. I'm going to give him an 8.5. There's only one player I want to give a 9 to, and I'll tell you about him later. But Nemanja Matic was very much close to winning man of the match for me once again. Fantastic play to pass it for the 3rd goal. I don't think many players at all would find that pass. And Nemanja Matic was the one to do it, and he unlocked the door to the 3rd goal for Manchester United. Again, positionally fantastic. He was covering for Victor Lindelof when he wanted to go forward, covered for Harry Maguire, covered for Luke Shaw, covered for Paul Pogba. He is the CDM. He is a CDM. He covers for other players. That's his role, and he does it to perfection sometimes, man. Not the fastest player. There were a few times he got done on pace. But besides that, man, positionally, he was perfect. It was a perfect performance, man. And honestly, if he got a goal or an assist, people would say he'd give him a 10 out of 10, and I would agree with that. But Nemanja Matic, man, he's changed his fortunes at Manchester United, and I'm excited that he's here. Like, I can't believe it. When he first came in, you could ask anybody that knows me, man. I was a bit suspect, especially for the price tag, 40 million for a guy that was aging. It's a big ask, but he's come and changed our fortunes a little bit since Michael Carrick retired. And now we need to find someone that can do that long term. But I'm happy that he's here for the short term. And next season, he's going to be very vital part for Manchester United. And maybe even the season after that. So it's good to see that we have a CDM that can actually hold the midfield and actually run the midfield from a position where it's not attacking wise. Fantastic. 8.5 for me. Paul Pogba. Ah, man, a free Paul Pogba is a good Paul Pogba. I don't think he's had a bad game since he's come back. Now, obviously, there's not too many games, of course. We know Paul Pogba can sometimes have inconsistencies, man. Sometimes he becomes invisible. But Paul Pogba was very present today, and I'm giving him an 8. He got a fantastic assist to Bruno Fernandes. He played a very, very good balls into the attack, man. And he could have got 2 assists from Bruno Fernandes. Unfortunately, the first shot just hit the post. Unfortunately for him, Paul Pogba was sensational today. And you know, something I've noticed, and maybe it's just me that noticed, but how often do you see Paul Pogba shoot the ball these days? That's the most important thing here, because he's making an impact without actually shooting the ball. I haven't seen Paul Pogba shoot a ball, at least from long range, since he's been back on the team. And that's something that's really important, because he's not just giving up and just shooting long to hope for the best. He's actually finding the plays. He's playing free. There's options around him. People are making sudden movements. And that's Paul Pogba's game. Paul Pogba's game, for me, is not to just shoot with 2 people contested on him and try and get a goal out of that. His game is to pick passes. His game is to create the highlight play, the show-stopping play, the play where everybody thinks, wow, that's a sensational ball. And sometimes it's the simple plays that does that. And I feel like Paul Pogba, he exemplified himself today. I think this is the real Paul Pogba. I don't think this is the Paul Pogba that's in form, that's scoring goals left, right, and centre like we saw last season. This is the real Paul Pogba, finding the passes, finding the hidden movements of players and getting the ball to them as soon as possible. He got an assist today because he found the movement of Bruno and he passed it to perfection that allowed Bruno to have a shot on goal. And he gets an 8. I thought he was splendid today. It was a fun game to watch for Paul Pogba. And Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to give him... Actually, there might be 2 players I need to give a 9 to. So I'm going to give Bruno Fernandes... I'm going to give him a 9 because he got 2 goals at the end of the day and he was a very impactful player. Now, the first goal was a bit lucky, deflection, but as I said, you have to earn your keep here. Sometimes you need to take the shot in order for the goal to go in. You don't take the shot, the goal doesn't go in. Sometimes you need to test your luck, and the luck was on Bruno's side tonight. But the second goal was superb. And I'm not talking about Mason Greenwood's pass. We'll get to that when we go to Mason Greenwood. But the finish was sensational. First time, right in the corner, venom in the strike. And sometimes you often think that Bruno Fernandes could probably be a striker at Manchester United with the way sometimes he can finish a ball. But man, and again, he was in the right position. Bruno Fernandes positionally is amazing. He is an amazing positional player. He has the instincts to go to places where people might not think he should be, but he's always in the right place and he makes the right passes. He makes the right plays. A lot of the time he gives the ball away. But again, there's a difference to Norwich Bruno Fernandes and today's Bruno Fernandes because he made an impact offensively when the passes did go through and we looked a threat. Against Norwich, he didn't. Every time he tried to play a pass, it was turned over, and that's the mistake. Bruno, sometimes you accept the turnovers for that 1 or 2 passes that do go through, and then you can go and attack them full throttle. And Bruno Fernandes, with 2 goals, you can't complain. And 2 goals from open field. A lot of people said that Bruno Fernandes actually has not played well at all, and all of his goals have been from penalties. Well, he scored 2 goals from open field today, man. Just remember, this guy has not even been here for 6 months. Playing, at least, for 6 months. Give him a little bit more respect. I think he deserves a lot more than what people give him. And he's gonna prove people wrong, man. I can't wait for next season to have him from the very beginning and see how far we can go. Now, I'm going to leave Mason Greenwood last. Marcus Rashford. I think I'm going to give Marcus Rashford a 7. He looked lively today. He looked sharp. He made some killer passes. Got a free kick for Paul Pogba. The shooting was off. And again, sometimes he's not in the right positions. But again, the guy's coming back, man. Let him breathe a little bit. The fact that he's not playing at his best, that Manchester United are destroying teams, is a big positive because all you have to do is wait for him to come back and we're going to even take it to another level. That's why I'm so passionate, man. I love the way that we're playing, and down the line we're going to need to keep this going, and Marcus Rashford's going to be a big part of that. 7's fair for me. Anthony Martial, and this is where it sucks because that's probably the only player I could say gets a 6 because he was rather invisible today. Brighton did very good at locking Anthony Martial up, but in doing that, they allowed a lot of players to be left open. And sometimes Martial is the sacrificial lamb for other players to go on attack. And I feel like that was the case today. I think he played his job well. I think Martial worked extremely hard, but the ball never came to him really. When it did come, he made the right plays. He did the right things. He didn't turn the ball over. But unfortunately, he was rather invisible today. And I can't say... If I said that about Jesse Lingard last week, I can't not say it about Martial this week. He was rather invisible today, but the difference was he made impacts that many people probably didn't notice with his passing. Nonetheless, I think 6 is a fair score. It's sad to see, but of course, Martial, a striker doesn't always have a fantastic game. And maybe that's where people get this agenda from. That one poor game Martial has, people go and attack and come at his throat. But that just means that next game, he's probably going to score again. And then people are going to have to shut up again. So, I mean, it's a two-way storm, really. All those people with an agenda, you need to understand that a number 9 doesn't always have a fantastic game. A number 9 doesn't always get on a score sheet. Unless you're world-class like Lewandowski or something like that, you don't get on the score sheet every game. It's as simple as that. It's an attack versus defense game. And sometimes you have to let the attacking play happen for other players, man. And this player, and I am so happy to talk about this player at such a high level right now. Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood is the other player that gets a 9. And in my opinion, Mason Greenwood is the man of the match. Now, people will say Bruno, and of course, Bruno is a very fantastic choice. People might even put Matic. People might put Harry Maguire. Either way, for me, Mason Greenwood is the man of the match. It was a perfect game, man. He got an assist, he got a goal, and he was superb throughout the entire game. If this is what it's going to be like for Mason Greenwood when he's lively, when he's in the game, when he's contributing, then by goodness, I cannot wait for next season, because this guy, the biggest complaint I had about this guy was that he wasn't in the game a lot, especially against Sheffield United. When all the team was run, all guns blazing, Mason Greenwood wasn't in the game. He had a few shots off target, but besides that, he did not look in the game whatsoever. He tried very hard. Defensively, he was great, but in the game, he wasn't. This one, he was in the game the entire game, except for maybe a little bit in the second half. He kind of dropped off a bit. But especially in the first half, man, the guy was extremely, extremely dangerous, and Brighton was scared. As soon as the first goal went in, they locked up. They tried their best to lock up Mason Greenwood. But unfortunately for them, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't keep the man down. And in the second half, you saw a fantastic pass, one of the best passes. We don't necessarily call out Mason Greenwood for an amazing pass, but that was spectacular. Might have been a rather simple ball. For many people, it is a simple ball, but the execution from Mason Greenwood and Bruno Fernandes together was pitch perfect. And in the end, for me, he deserves a 9 out of 10. One of the most perfect performances, by far the best performance I've seen from Mason Greenwood, and I'm looking forward to seeing this man play. Very, very scary times ahead for opposition when you have Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial up front. If we get Sancho, then that's even more of a threat, man. People are going to be scared of us, and they should be. They have every right to be, because we're an attacking force at the moment, and things can change. Obviously, Manchester United can change. We've seen that we are an inconsistent team a lot of the time. But during this run of form, 14 unbeaten, 11 clean sheets, Manchester United are truly getting into their own, getting their confidence up, feeling themselves. And it's only a positive for the league, only positive for Man United fans. And we're looked to be on the up, man. And a lot of people are saying it as well, that we're looking to contend next season. We're looking to fight. We're not looking for just top 4. We want to be in the fight. We want to be one of those teams that are guaranteed for top 4. We want to be especially next season, because maybe next season is not the title challenge, but at least it's getting into the competition of potentially being in a title challenge. I want guaranteed top 4 next season. I don't want to be in a fight for top 4 when it's all said and done next season. I don't want to be in that fight. I want to be the one that's guaranteed. I want to be like the Man City and the Liverpools, the one that are automatically guaranteed to make the top 4. And I think that's the next step. Of course, only time's going to tell, man, but that was the team. Let's go to the bench. Of course, a lot of the benches are probably going to get 6. We'll start off with Brandon Williams, who obviously came on for Luke Shaw. I thought Brandon Williams did well, man. I'm going to give him a 6.5. Again, didn't have much time to prove his worth, but he had a shot on goal. Not a game-saving tackle, but a goal-saving tackle to say the least, when there was a little bit of a counter-attack. He made a killer pass as well. I thought he was superb, man. 6.5 out of 10. Scott McTominay gets a 6.5 out of 10 as well. Again, as soon as he came on, he just absolutely drove at Brighton, man. And Brighton were tired. They were dead, really. And Scott McTominay just running through this way, running through that way, making tackles, getting crosses. I thought Scott McTominay, again, he needs something. He has something to prove. I think a lot of players now, it's going to be hard to switch that starting 11. And Scott McTominay has something to prove. Otherwise, it seems to be all over. All is lost for them, at least. For him, at least. And he's going to have to deal with being on the bench for the rest of the season. But, again, this is the perfect situation for Manchester United, having a player of the quality of Scott McTominay coming off of our bench. It's brilliant to see. Next up, we could talk about Ighalo. Ighalo gets a 6, didn't have much to do at all. I don't think he got the ball whatsoever, so getting him less than a 6 is very, very harsh, and I think a 6 is fair. Daniel James, which is the 4th one. Yeah, I'd give Daniel James a 6 as well. Had a few shots on goal. Again, very, very, very easy shots to save, of course, for a caliber goalkeeper like Matt Ryan. You expect him to save them, and he did. Very, very comfortable. And there's always one that I'm missing, and there it is. Andreas Periera. Andreas Periera gets a 6 as well. Yeah, look, I didn't notice much of Andreas when he came on. He didn't have much time to go and make a name for himself or anything like that. But yeah, I think a 6 is fair. That's the Manchester United team. That is how we played. I'm super proud of the way that we played tonight. And we have very good games coming up. I think 6 games left in the Premier League. We need to go now and win as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying win them all because that is going to be very, very tough to do. But if we can, I think top 4 is basically guaranteed if we could go out and beat every single team. But the only thing we can focus on is the next game. So whenever the next game is, whatever day, however long, I'm going to be excited to bring you a preview. So stay tuned for that. And let's see if Manchester United can go out and dominate once again. Ollie's rating, I thought Ollie gets an 8 out of 10 for his fantastic team. And I think this is the first time I got a team prediction 100% right. It wasn't hard to predict the team tonight, to be honest. So I can't even give myself credit. Like, of course, that's the team that we're going to pick. But it feels good to get it 100% right. That's the first time ever for me. So congratulations to me as well. I guess I get a 10 out of 10 too. Yeah, but Ollie gets an 8. Superb. Substitutions were great. I would have loved to see Fred play today, but unfortunately, only 5 substitutions. Can't believe I'm saying that. And everybody got a rest that needed to get a rest, and I'm happy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful and safe day. Take care, and peace.